From the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Hood River, Oregon, I'm George Thomas. You're listening to First Chair, and what a very special guest we have today. You've got quite the story. Augusto Burone Risso is joining us from Argentina, and you would like to be called Rooster?
Yes, I go by Rooster. That's fine.
All right. Well, Rooster, you recently wrote an article for us titled "Around the World in 10 Years." you kind of had you took endless winter to a new meaning. You taught skiing pretty much 10 years straight.
Pretty much.
How did that idea get in your head, first of all?
Well, when I first started, I came to the U.S. with probably you heard about it. It's a J1 visa program.
Yep.
So if you're in college, you come. I think there's a lot of ski resorts in the U.S. that use that. And so I came on my college break to teach in Colorado. That was the first time, actually. I never taught before. I could ski, but I got like a week of training before actually teaching little kids, 3 and 4 year olds. And that was in a small ski resort called, it was called at that time Sol Vista Basin. I think now it's called Granby Ranch. It's in Colorado, near Winter Park. So that's where I started. And when I was going to college, I didn't quite love it, you know what I mean? And so, but I didn't know anything else. So, but when I actually, after that season, I loved it. You know what I mean? I loved spending like an entire season on snow, skiing, teaching ski, hanging out with other people. So I loved it. So I came back to that ski resort the following winter, and then I got my certification, my snowboard one, my ski alpine level 1, and so I started considering this could be an option for me, regardless if I finish my career or not. But I started considering on just doing this for a while, or just at least doing it and it lasted more than I was expecting, you know what I mean? I still do it.
So how did the idea of teaching year-round, you started out at Granby, and then 2 seasons there. After your second season at Granby, did you just think, I'm going to see if I can keep this going? And where did you go for that, the first year that you went year-round? Where did you go?
So my first season, I think it was after my 3rd season over there in Granby. I already got my snowboard and alpine level 1, and I applied just to try to see how it went to work in Bariloche here in Argentina, or there in Argentina, and I got a job offer, and I went and gave it a try, and didn't go like super well, because it was quite a bad season for, I don't remember what was going on at that time, like some kind of flu or something that prevented a lot of tourism to go. So it was not a great season, but it was an experience, you know what I mean? And it was good.
Sounds like COVID year.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
One of those, because there've been like a few like along the years. I don't remember exactly which one, but one of those, and and so it was all right. It was also like with my level 1, I was kind of low down in the priority list, and so it was like the people like they were like above me. They were like working most of the time, and I was most of the time not working and so on. But it was all right. It was an experience. And so from there on, I kept coming to Sol Vista a couple more times, and I got my level 1, my alpine level 1, level 2. I mean, so I had my level 1 snowboard and level 2 alpine, and so I started looking for some other places, And I heard like some friends told me about New Zealand, and that you could do like with my Argentinian passport, you could apply for like a 1-year visa, something like that. It's called like a working holiday visa over there in New Zealand. They also have the same program in Australia. So you basically, they give you a visa for 1 year, so you can stay 1 year working and so on. So I applied for this visa after that season in Argentina and 5 seasons in Colorado. I applied for this visa, and I went to New Zealand. Actually, I escaped one winter over there. I spent, because it's South Hemisphere, so it's summertime over there. So I spent actually a summer over there in New Zealand, working, doing whatever job I could get, just to pay rent and stuff. And then I applied. I think it was around March or so. Like all the job openings to apply for all the ski resorts there were open like around February or March, I think. So I applied pretty much for all of them, which they're not so many. It's like 10, 12. And I got like a reply from probably 2 of them. And one of them was Cardrona. Cardrona, New Zealand. I didn't know the difference at that time, but it turned to be one of the busiest actually ski resorts, ski schools over there. And I got a job offer. So winter time, I moved around June to Wanaka. That's a beautiful town, set like next to a lake, and then it's different from the US, because you have to they pick you up in a van in the morning, early in the morning, and you have to drive like for 40 minutes to get to the ski resort. You need to go up like a dirt road.
Oh wow.
Which is sometimes pretty scary, you know what I mean? But it was every morning. Sometimes I remember we had to put chains in the car and so. But different. But once you're up there, I really liked it. I really liked working in New Zealand. It was more like cosmopolitan. You had instructors from all over the place, all over the world. So I made friends from all over the place, and we had training over there pretty much every morning. And if you didn't have a class, you could apply and do some training of whatever, racing, Moguls, freestyle. So that was actually pretty helpful for my skiing, you know what I mean? So yeah, for sure.
Quick moment here. Did you know that you could support the future of snow sports education through a gift in your will or estate? Legacy giving to the PSIA-AASI Education Foundation helps create lifelong opportunities for instructors. Learn more by dropping down the About tab on thesnowpros.org.
So in the winters, are you normally in the U.S. or do you go to Europe? Kind of trade?
No. I just went to Europe as a tourist. I never taught in Europe.
Okay.
And normally North Hemisphere. Most of the seasons I've done in the North Hemisphere, they were in the U.S., either in Colorado or in Tahoe, in California. And I did one season over there in Japan, in Niseko.
That was my next question. Yep.
Yes.
And what was that like for you? And I guess the thing kind of swirling around in my head is, how do you figure out housing? I mean, you're all over the place.
Well, so the thing is like, once you work in one place, like for example, Cardrona, which you have instructors from all over the world working over there, that start opening doors, because you have like friends that work whatever in Tahoe, friends that work in Colorado, a lot of people work in Japan. So you start talking to them and asking for information and contacts and stuff like that. So doing a season in Japan was something like I really wanted to do at some point, but I was pretty much based in Tahoe at that time. And my North Hemisphere place was Palisades, Tahoe. Now it's called Palisades, Tahoe. But at some point I took a season off to go to Niseko and actually have that experience. And it was pretty much the same. Anytime you apply for a new ski resort, you have to, apply online to, many ski resorts, and unless you have like a solid contact, and they're gonna hire you, you apply to different ski schools, and you some of them reply, and then you move from there on, and then you ask, if you have some friends that work in Japan, they will tell you, well, this ski resort is bigger, this one is busier, you're gonna work more here and there, and so on. So I got a job at NBS. That's the name of the ski school. At the time, Paul Lorenz was the director of the ski school, so I knew him from the ski community, whatever, from watching videos of him online and stuff. So, whatever. It seems that, and it seemed that it was one of the busiest. So, I went for NBS. They hired me to work with kids, groups mainly, and which is what I mostly do.
And that's a private ski school, correct? Not like an area ski school. So you varied there. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, in Niseko, I don't know if it's the same all over Japan, but in Niseko in particular, just as in Bariloche in Argentina, you have like the mountain, the ski resort, and then you have at least several, but many private ski schools. And so you can actually work for different ski schools. So I ended up working for NBS, which is one of the 3 biggest ski schools over there in Niseko. And the housing, they help me with accommodation, with employee housing. They give you I think most of us, they offer us employee housing, and they pick you up. They have transportation from the employee housing to the mountain and then back. So, pretty convenient actually.
Any language barriers?
So no, in Japan actually, if you speak English, that's about enough.
Oh.
Of course, in Argentina you have to speak Spanish. That's the language you're going to be teaching. You're going to be using to teach in Argentina. But in Niseko, you don't need to speak other language, like other than English. I mean, you can speak some Japanese, like basic, like hello, please, some basic Japanese to use it when you go to a restaurant, for example, things like that. But once you're working, your clientele is mainly English speaking, like tourists. They come mainly from Australia, some from New Zealand.
Oh.
And then there are some what was that, Hong Kong and Singapore. There are some international schools, so a lot of Westerners are settled there. The parents work there in Hong Kong or Singapore, and they come on holidays and on a ski holiday to Niseko. They might be from all over the place, from the US, from France, but they're living over there sometimes for a few years, and they come. So you use English to teach your lessons for sure.
And how do the different countries honor your certifications?
So I was like, with my PSIA certification, is actually quite it opened many doors, because it's pretty well respected, that certification. Some people, when you can meet some Europeans or whatever, that they say, oh well, no, your PSIA certification is easier or whatever. But the reality is that if with your level 2, with your PSIA level 2, you get you're gonna get a lot of doors open already. And with your level 3, even more. You can work like anywhere, even in Europe. There are like English ski schools that you can actually get hired with your PSIA certification. So it's actually it was great actually.
What would you recommend to someone who's thinking, well, this might be something I kind of want to give a try? Where would you start out?
I would say, like, if you're from the US and you're used to work in the US and ski school in the US, probably New Zealand is a good place to start, because it's English, and the dynamics of the ski school are similar to the US, and the people also, you have a lot of instructors, even trainers there, that they are like PSIA. Some of the trainers over there at Cardrona, they're PSIA. I'd say quite a few. So you feel it is quite familiar, and it's a good place to start, because, as I said, over there you're gonna make friends from different places, and a lot of those instructors that you will meet over there, they work in Japan, they work in Niseko. So eventually, if you want to go and spend the season in Japan, you can talk to them, and just gather some information, and just keep going. If that's your goal, just keep moving around. That was my goal at that time. So that's what I did.
Another question for you: how did your body take it? I mean, you never really had a chance to recover.
Well,
from skiing 5-6 days a week.
Yeah, for sure. In between, like when I was doing back-to-back winters, I was younger than I'm now, and I was full of energy and stuff. But always, I remember, like, in between winter seasons, I would have like 2 months off normally.
Sometimes. Okay.
Yes, like about 2 months off. I was like probably normally about 4 months, 8 months winter, like working as a ski instructor. Sometimes like 2 months off in between seasons. So I would definitely go and spend like a month somewhere warm, doing some summer activities, like in Indonesia or Mexico, place like that. So spending some time in the beach, snorkeling, stuff like that. But it's quite. It is physically demanding to move around nonstop, and I didn't realize that until the pandemic, which I was pretty much forced to stay in California and spend like a full summer over there in California, and that's when I realized that, hey man, you know what, this is also good. I'm enjoying this, actually, and so after 10 years, I was like, wow, this is good. So that's when I considered it to, just move back to only one winter a year and then have a full summer. But I was after a decade. So
now, personally, I was teaching coaching racing up on Mount Hood in the summers for a few years, and just being up there for 4 to 8 weeks in between the winter seasons, my skiing really ramped up in a way that I'd never seen it before. What was it like for you and your skiing ability to just be really back and forth for full seasons? You must have become pretty phenomenal.
Yes, it is like an intensive course of skiing, because you're skiing year round. You in half of the time you're skiing twice. You're getting twice as much skiing. For example, if you do one winter season a year, that's fine. But you're skiing like 4 to 5 months a year normally. Then if you do back-to-back winters, you're skiing like 8 or more months. So pretty much you're skiing most of the time, and that helped me a lot, because I don't have like a racing background. I wasn't in a race team when I was a kid or anything like that. I was just skied once in a while, was a tourist, and that was it. And so, for example, in New Zealand, when I was doing training, whatever, racing training or freestyle training, all the other kids, the local kids, the Kiwis, they probably skied since they were 2 years old, and so they were at that time much better than me, and that kind of pushed me to actually I wanted to get to that level, and if I could do better, even better, I would try to. So I was actually pushing my limits a lot, and I go doing a lot of training, and having all 8 months or more a year to actually ski and train. So definitely I improved a lot in a short period of time, for sure. And I did sports all my life, so it's something I like, being outside and doing something that is that requires some focus and effort and challenge. That I actually got to a point that I competed in big mountain, and
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. And I loved it. I knew that I wasn't gonna get to the level that the best the best competitors were at, but it was fun. To me, it was fun. Just being there was fun. It was so yeah. And then also that was on my that's the type of skiing I liked. Big mountain, going fast, taking some airs, jumping, doing some tricks, stuff like that. But also when I trained for my level 3 PSIA, that was a different story. That was also challenging, but in a different way. I had to change my skiing a lot to be able to pass my level 3, because I could go straight and fast, and that was fun to me, but that wasn't that wasn't the way that I was going to pass my level 3. I had to, so I had to learn how to slow down my pace and turn. It's called technique. So I had to learn a little bit of that.
So where are you these days? The 10 years has come to an end. Are you still going to do some dual seasons, or are you more focusing on just teaching in the US?
Pretty much, yeah, just focusing on teaching in the US. I don't discard doing another season in the South Hemisphere, but it's not something I'm thinking of right now. For example, I told you, in the South Hemisphere, I worked in many places. I worked in New Zealand. I did 3 seasons in Cardrona. I did Argentina. I also worked I did 1 season in Australia, 2 seasons in Portillo in Chile, and 1 season in Africa, a place called Afriski, which I loved. So, I would say I would come back and do another South Hemisphere season, but maybe just for fun at some point, you know what I mean? But it's not something I'm really focused on right now. Right now I'm working on Aspen snowmess. So that's where I'm based, and I do just 1 winter a year.
Last question for you. You started out at Granby, teaching 4-year-olds, little kids, very family oriented, and had never taught before. And then you've also taught in Portillo, where almost everybody on staff is a level 3. What was the difference in culture like just between those 2 areas?
Well, when I started over there in Granby, it's more I was young. I was 20, 22, and so for me it was like a holiday somehow. Yeah. Even though I was working pretty much 5 days a week, sometimes 6 or 7 during holidays, but it was going back to the hotel. Well, there were a lot of other J1s, and we have a hot tub, and it was just hanging out. And in Portillo, you are surrounded by instructors that they worked as an instructor, some of them for a long time. Some of them are your age, but you have different. Many from the US in Portillo, many instructors from the US and from Chile and from Argentina. And it's different. You're all fully certified instructors over there, so it's a bit different, but you meet people also from Europe. I made some good friends over there, which actually some of them are working at Snomas right now. So several of them actually, actually from many other places. Like I met people here in Aspen that I work with in Cardrona in New Zealand, in California, in Portillo in Chile. So, and then here in Aspen, there are many of them. So, and about the difference is, well, it's just, well, it's different. It's not like J1s, like college students. It's just professional ski instructors that they do. Most of them do this for living, and it's working in Portillo is pretty cool actually. It's chill. I have time to go skiing, and everything is easy to have. You don't even have to commute because it's you live right there.
Oh, you're right there.
Yeah, right there. And it's fun. You just go skiing when you're not working. You just go skiing with some other instructors in the afternoon. You go to the hot tub, and there are things going on at night if you want to just go out. Yeah, it's pretty chill. I loved it actually.
Well, Rooster, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to share your experiences with us.
Yeah, Greg, it was a pleasure.
I wish you all the best in the coming winter, and thank you all for listening to First Chair from the PSIA-AASI Satellite Studios in Hood River, Oregon. I'm George Thomas.
See you guys.